I had actually replaced this one probably a year ago, actually a little less than a year ago, and it failed again. It was a cheap one off Amazon, and I figured, well, what the heck, this car's got 230,000 miles on it. I don't know, put $200 into a bearing that might outlast the car, so kind of paying for it a little bit right now, but that's all right. I got another one here, and what we're going to do, I'm going to crank this up a little bit, is we're going to make sure it's this bearing. It could be the other side. And then let's go through the process of changing it. So it does sound like it's this bearing. You can hear a little bit of the brake pad rubbing on there, but I also hear a little graininess in the spin. And when I move this, I can feel it knocking just a hair. So I'm pretty certain it's this bearing, but it might be a bad idea to check the other side. So I'm going to crank that side up, just double check it before I go down this whole path. So we're back at the rear bearing hub on the passenger side of this 2010 Prius. So I went over to check the other side. I actually found that the caliper and the pins were seized up on the other side. So it's probably an hour and a half later, and I'm just getting back to this. So what I wanted to do is just make sure that this is the problem area in terms of the bearing. And what I'm going to do is just pop this rotor off, check the pins on here, make sure that this caliper and systems around it are free and moving correctly, because the 2010 Prius, at least mine, seems to need rear brake caliper work probably every 30,000 miles. The pins just lock up constantly, and I put multiple different types of grease. I've used OEM parts, I've used aftermarket parts, everything trying to get it to be longer lived than that, and it's just not working out. So I've pretty much keep this on hand, these components now, and it's not a hard job, just something annoying. Other than that, this car has been absolutely perfect. We've never had another problem with it, and it's got about 235 or 238,000 miles on it right now, so I'm very pleased with it. So we're going to go check this, hopefully show you how to do a wheel bearing, and I'm going to get that out of there. I think I got to pull the caliper housing off as well. So these pins are really tight too, so while we're in here we're going to lube these up. They don't move. And this here, everything else in life isn't going to come off easy, right? So you got to pull off the actual bracket here. So I'll get to that. I can tell you what size ratchet it's going to take. It's going to be a 14 millimeter, just like the caliper pins themselves. So we'll start pulling those pieces off and get to checking this. So I'm taking these three bolts off that hold it. I think you can see the Loctite is there. Not Loctite, the anti-seize is on there. Still didn't help much. They're still pretty tight on there. I can't really do them by hand. So this is a real garage where I do things myself. So this is what I do. Nope, it's not right. Yep, I'm probably gonna break my tools. But guess what? See that? It worked. So here we go. I remember the last time, the fun part of this was not really the getting these bolts out. It was getting this hub out from its housing that's very tightly aligned with this trailing arm here. So we're going to see if it comes out any better. This has only been on here a year, but my guess is it's going to be a bang fest with the hammer. this one is starting to move. So it won't be long now before I have it out. And one thing I wanted to do is grab this clip back here, and this is for your anti-lock brakes. So it's going to be hard for you to see, so I'm just going to turn it off and pull it out. But there's, you know how these are, they have a little spot where you've got to get them just right pushed in to actually pull it out. So I'm going to do that, get that out of here so that I can pull this out the rest of the way without stressing the wire. So I popped this out now. Here you can see what we've got. A pretty rusted seat here. This face here is rusted. You can see there is some anti-seize on there from last time, but there's also a lot of salt water, right? So that's from that. This here, actually, I took the last time the dust shield for around the brakes actually rusted away, but it left me with this little flange here. So I actually used that. And I'm going to try to get it off again and reuse it, because what it basically is a little shim. And I don't think it'd cause a problem if it's not on there, but the brakes would still adjust to where they need to be. But since I have the shim available, I'm going to put it back on. And we'll get back into that in a second. So this time I bought this auto round wheel hub, part number 512505 off of Amazon, and we're gonna give this one a try. Should be a relatively simple install. It looks just like the other one, which is good. So we'll get this going and get some anti-seize on the face and the mating surfaces here, just so that our job is easy in the future. And I'll show you how it goes. And remember, I said I was going to put this guy back on. It really matters which way it goes, as long as the bolt holes line up. Okay. Fresh anti-seize on the end of the bolt here. That seems to be where it went through this trailing arm. And we'll get one started. Get it hung. You know what, probably easier if I take that off first. Don't be shy with the anti-seize. Comes in a big bottle. It lasts for years. Makes a mess. Don't get on your clothes. But makes your job much easier. Get that all on there. I also want to get my caliper housing back on too, so probably do that before I get too far here. And I always just double check with a wrench afterwards, because, well, I just like to. And because of that, I put that little bit extra in there just to make sure. So use a torque wrench. Nope. Are they coming off? Nope. Okay, there we are. Wheel bearings replaced. I do need to slide this on for my anti-lock brakes. Okay, it's clipped on. It's in there. We're going to put the nice tight quiet bearing. The other one's pretty loose. It's not making noise by hand, but there's certainly noise going on in the car, so I'm reasonably certain that this is the one, but I guess not for sure anything yet. So remember to put the disc on before you put your caliper bracket back on. So we've got this on there. Now we'll come back, throw our caliper bracket back on. I'm going backwards here. Just like such, we'll get that lined up, and we'll get the bolts in there. And the reason I'm telling you to do that is because I didn't remember to do that. Get so excited setting this up that I got ahead of myself. So I had to take it back off and put it back on. Luckily it's only 2 bolts, and they are absolutely soaked in anti-seize now, so it's not really. Okay, that's all in there. It's going to stay loose until you get the lug nuts and the wheel on, so everything's loose now. We got the brake pad back in there. The other side, the rear end. I always like to pick out the little garbage that's built up in the center of the pad. That's just help them clear out, stay clean. Okay, and I'll put that in there. So I'm going the wrong way. Okay, and then again, these little spring clips go in. There's little holes on the top of the pads, and those clips go in there, and they spread the pads out so they don't ride on a disc when you're not using your brakes, because sometimes they'll just stick there. So make sure they're in there, and you can see these are moving freely. And what we'll do now is turn the caliper in a bit. And that's just clockwise is in, counterclockwise is out. And it's kind of a star-shaped thing, and I just use a pliers and kind of spread it out a little ways. It works. No, I still gotta go. Oh, is it gonna go? It might. Yep, it's gonna go. Okay. So this one's on there. Nice fit. Get stuck. A lot of times you gotta mess with the caliper for a while to get it to slide on real cleanly, but this time it went right in. There we go. Okay. Yeah, now it's evenly tight all the way around. Like I said, it'll loosen up here as we drive. And we're gonna put that back on here and get some lugs started. We'll set down the jack a little bit and give it a crank with the manual, and then we'll be done.
If you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.